have the dream, but don't get down if that stuff doesn't seem attainable.
Yeah.
Because you can have the dream and then you get really excited and you work really hard for a week and a half. And then why am I not on Fallon a week and a half in to making music? Well, that's not how that works. Yeah. And most of the people that get any of that stuff I mentioned have major label deals, millions of dollars pumped into them, major publishing deals. If you're independent, that's not happening. Yeah. You know, so just be content with what you're doing, work really hard, enjoy what you're doing, I enjoy this part. You know, because one day, I believe I'm going to have some sort of success in this business. I don't know if that's going to be major label or that's going to be indie label or no label, but I know I'm going to have some success because I think I love it enough and I'm good enough. But like, even then, you know, I will look back at this part, the process, the grind, the sludge part, and I'll miss it because I work at a bar for my day job called Me Hands, and we have one of our regulars came in. He's a very successful lawyer, millionaire. And, you know, he was saying how he's depressed and this and this and this. And he said, you know, I envy you. And I was like, why? He was like, because you wake up every day with the hope that something big could happen for you. You know, it's like you wake up with your big break could be today. He was like, even if it's not going to be today, he was like, that hope and that ambition and that like unknowing of if something major could happen for you, he was like, that's addicting. He was like, that feeling is like, I envy that feeling. And ever since he said that, it's really stuck with me of like this part of like the grind of like, sure, it can feel down if you're not getting enough likes or views or streams or whatever, but that like not knowing if something's going to hit or not, you know, every day is a gift for that. Yeah. And so I would say just chase it. Just chase it. Don't care about what your friends think. Don't care about what your enemies think. Don't care about any of that. Just do you and work on your craft and find your voice, find your visual voice, find your, I say visual voice because, you know, we live in a really content-driven world and you've got to have a brand, you know, whatever it is. I always say there's so many artists that I think that suffer from not having the right brand, you know, whether that's the photos aren't right or the video's not right, but that stuff has to be in order.
Absolutely.
You know, you got to have that in order. It shouldn't be more important than the music, but maybe just as or a little under. But all of this stuff is stuff that I would say, but the biggest thing is to just keep pushing and don't let those dreams that you're having and the lack of success you might be experiencing like weigh on you. Rather just kind of, you know, just every day you're pushing for it, you're getting closer.
All right, everybody, we're back in the McBastard studio live from FOCO, USA. You're listening to Salty Mefco podcast, and today we just had a Salty's Live Music with Atticus Roness. He's amazing, by the way, and I just want everyone to know this show is sponsored by absolutely fucking no one. So, Atticus, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yep. Sponsored by nobody. We built this. I just got here.
That's right.
We built Salty.
Atticus is sponsoring this today.
Yeah.
So
with
hey,
my music.
For the audience, I got to be honest here. We've done a lot of these, and just sitting there and listening to him, like it's just like you can tell he's feeling it. He's part of the instrument, and dude, it was amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been really cool getting to play these songs with this new album coming out, and I feel like they're some of my most diverse stuff. I'm getting to try some stuff, getting kind of Beatle-y, getting kind of Zeppelin-y even. I don't know some of the influences that you heard sitting there. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I told you to come in. You know, I never like to put somebody somewhere because then they're like, dude, that's not totally, that's totally wrong.
Most people don't like to be put somewhere.
Yeah, but Beatles, like it was sticking to me. I mean, we talked before and I was like, hey, I hope this, maybe, I don't know, but you remind me kind of I hear the Beatles and I grew up in the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and the Doors and just.
My parents bought me sorry to interrupt you.
No,
but,
you're good.
Very early on, I can't remember how early. I think I got my first guitar when I was 11 and it was a tiny little silver thing. I was playing Ode to Joy on it and stuff. And my mom was like saying, can you stop or close the door? You know, and they're very supportive of me now. I'm glad I got better. They're a really nice balance. I'm ADHD, by the way, so it's going to go everywhere today when we talk. But
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the show. Both my parents have been really good about supporting, but also, I don't believe they would lie to me if it wasn't good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that they've been really good at fostering me to kind of pursue excellence. But anyways, at that time, I wasn't excellent, and she wasn't afraid to let me know. And I remember, I think it was a birthday or Christmas, they got me a Beatles chord book. So every Beatles song, A through Z, and the chords and the lyrics. And I mean, I read it like it was my Bible.
Yeah.
Like sometimes even without a guitar.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I would just stare at the pages and see if stuff would jump out. Most of the time with a guitar in my hand, just trying stuff. And once I got good enough to kind of do it, I mean, I was in that book hours a day, just learning these Beatles songs. Pretty much any Beatles song I could name you if you played it like half a second of it. I mean, I heard a really good Robin Williams quote about the Beatles, and it was like, a lot of Beatles songs feel like they just were programmed into your DNA. Like you don't even remember, or at least for me, I don't even remember learning them. I don't remember a time where they stuck in particular. It just feels like I was born and they were like, they were hardwired.
Absolutely.
And so it's no surprise that comes across.
Came out. Well, I want to shout out to all the Brooklyn, New York parents out there. Mom and dad, way to give them some tough love early on. Yeah. And look at them now. So call out to the Brooklyn mom and dad.
Oh, yeah. Big thanks to mom and dad. I mean, again, like, even early on too, like when I was driving with my dad all the time in one of his Jeeps, he had a few growing up. And, there was no listening to the radio. There was no, I want to play a song. This was, dad was like, we're listening to ELO. Queen,
ELO, I love ELO.
AC/DC, Zeppelin, The Clash, Beatles, obviously. Like it was dad's playlist for all of my life. Still to this day, I mean, now he's raised me in a way where we have the same music taste. Yeah. Those early car drives, hours and hours of just listening to rock and roll. I mean, I was indoctrinated. So
yeah, well, I need to get your playlist because I think your playlist, Dad, and my playlist are probably on par.
Fire. We should do a jam or a blend.
We should do a jam.
Yeah,
my dad was funny. He had this old Cutlass, and the 8-track tapes is all he had.
Oh yeah.
And all I think he had was Elvis and Neil Diamond. So, but if a Neil Diamond song comes on, man, I will rock Neil Diamond out, buddy.
Listen, there's worse playlists than Elvis and Neil Diamond, bro.
Yeah,
I could rock to that.
Neil Diamond classic. So that was what we grew up. We'd be singing "Sweet Caroline." I can still picture that in the back.
He's
of the
got
seat.
awesome songs too. Like so, my dad raised me on certain things. A lot of '70s rock, a lot of '80s alternative. But there's a lot of stuff he didn't get into, Neil Diamond being one. Some other kind of crooners, 60s and 70s kind of songwriters like that. So I spent a lot of time. I worked at a record store called Waterloo Sunset Records. They were in the Battery for a while. Yeah. And then they reopened at a different place. And so anyways, that place, working at a record store, I was kind of able to spread my wings a little bit and be like, what's some stuff, we'd be dead half the time in there. So I'd be like, what's some stuff I've never given myself a chance to listen to that I just have at my fingertips right here? And especially on vinyl, it's even cooler. So, Neil Diamond would, I'd be like, I've never heard this record. You just start going through James Taylor. I've never heard this record. Ike and Tina Turner. I've never heard these records. Stuff that I think, people who are into, if you're into soul, you've heard it. But otherwise, you wouldn't have maybe heard it. I have this library, this free library. I would get paid to be in this library to listen to music. And I mean, specifically, I would say my love for country music, good country music, and good soul came from that record store job. Just kind of pushing myself. And I'm glad I did because I think it's had an effect on my songwriting. Just kind of pulling from different influences. And even if it's a rock song, there's a lot you can learn from Gil Scott-Heron.
Oh, absolutely.
And, a lot I can learn from George Jones within a rock vein,
Absolutely. I mean, the cool thing about even this is, we have so many different artists and genres come in, and I think we were kind of made to do this because of all the different music we've heard from, I grew up really born in the 60s, a hippie kid, bad decisions, drugs, whatever's terrible.
The Holy Trinity.
That's what I was born in. But reality of his 70s, 80s, 90s, I mean, we got to hear so many different, just awesome bands, awesome genres. So for this, it kind of brings back some of your childhood and younger and seeing these different genres. So it's a really cool experience for us.
It's cool to see that it's out there still. Like, I mean, if anybody hasn't heard of me before, you know, and then watches some of the stuff I played, like there's, you know, it's a blast from the past in a lot of ways what I'm doing, you know, and there's artists that are doing that. And I do think that if you're going to do the blast from the past thing that I do, trying to have a modern twist to it is important, but because you don't just want to rehash, you know, what's already been done. But yeah, I mean, all of my favorite artists today are reminiscent of that older period, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like people say that, but reality of it is, you know, I see kind of punk rock coming back and some alternative coming back.
Big time.
You know, we grew up with that, and I'm like glad to hear that, you know, because those songs get buried, and the new generation never even knew what real punk was. They really did. Sex Pistols. Oh yeah, they had no idea like what that was. Dead Kennedys, Black Flag.
I still don't exactly grasp what the Sex Pistols are. That's how timeless that is. Yeah.
God save the Queen.
Yeah. But, it's cool. Like, and we were talking about this a little off air. Like, regardless of people's stance on AI, like a big thing I'm seeing is the revival of this stuff you're talking about. Like, people just want to get instruments in their hands again, and they want to play, and they want to show that, you know, people still make this stuff and make it at a really high level, and it's pretty awesome. And you know, I feel like I'm a part of that, and
absolutely,
it's inspiring seeing people do that all the time.
You know, when you know, I've heard you before this. Obviously, I was listening to when we like, I think we reached out 6 or 7 months ago to you, so we were excited to have you back in. But like, it was like your voice when you see you, but like what comes out, you know,
it's very different.
It is like, what? Yeah. Like, and that's it's, you know, it's unique, and that's a pretty cool thing, because what you see someone, you think, okay, I'm gonna.
You think you know how they're gonna sound.
Yeah, this guy's gonna sound like this.
I've gotten that a lot.
Yeah, and then you're like, whoa, shit, like it's totally.
I've gotten that from, even if somebody hears me talk first, and then I do that, they'd be like, that does not sound just like the same person.
Yeah,
it's because it's interesting, like. You know, I'm going to keep talking about the Beatles the whole time. Like, half that band sounds exactly like, I think John Lennon sounds vocally exactly like he talks.
Yeah.
But Paul McCartney is very different. And so, you know, it's cool to see how, you know, because I was born with that to some degree. Like, I've worked on my tone. I've not even really professionally, just kind of like, I think I've just done it so many times. I know what I like to do, know what I don't like to do. Kind of like clocking into work, you know what works and what doesn't. And to this day, I mean, when I'm playing live, there's always something I could do better and something I can learn from, and you know, just kind of stockpiling all of that and creating what is my voice, you know?
Yeah, well, even, you know, we did a flub up a little bit before, and they had to sing it again, and then like just listening to you, like you changed a little bit on the second song.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's cool about being live. Yeah. You know, and you're kind of trying out what best
different
fits.
Stuff. That whole second song, Trigger Finger in particular, you know, it's kind of this like cock rock Boston style song on the record. And when I did it just now, like, I love to kind of tap into some of that Bob Dylan-y sort of thing. And that's what's the most amazing thing about live music is people's artists' ability to interpret their own material and bring it a certain way. Because whenever I see artists and musicians play live, the last thing I want to hear is exactly what's on the record. If I want the record, I'll go listen to it.
Absolutely.
You know, I want you to bring me something new, something fresh. Whether it's one part that's different, or, you know, you're doing a whole arrangement different, or you just bring an energy that's unique apart from the song. I mean, that's what makes live music feel alive.
I was going to ask you, like, even the audience, like, you can get a feel, right, for the audience. So if you think it's a rowdier audience, or just or everyone's kind of, you know, Night of the Living Dead, you know, like, change your
so many different things. When we opened for Collective Soul back in April, that's a pretty daunting task, because I mean, they're Collective Soul legends.
Heard of them, have you?
Yeah, right. You might have heard a few songs. You know, it was at the Civic Center Arena in Dothan, and I had a pretty surreal moment during sound check when all those seats are empty. You know, and we're just playing, and the gravity of the moment is hitting you.
Yeah.
And we you know, did well in sound check, and then the way we do our live show, the band starts instrumentally without me, and then I come on and do my big attention-seeking entrance.
Yeah, he's an entertainer too.
So I come on, and it was when I did that for that show, and it's a daunting task when you know nobody in that audience is there to hear you. Like, they're all here to hear Collective Soul. So to kind of balance, like, you want to give that the proper credence, like, this isn't your headliner, but also, like, you don't want people to forget you. you know, and kind of riding that line is very interesting. And at the end of the day, we just put on a good show. And we had a line, you know, for our merch after our set. And, you know, we're very fortunate to have such a great reception from that. And, but then, you know, compare that to you know, I think the next day we did like a dive bar, one of my favorites in Athens called Roadhouse.
Oh yeah.
The difference is insane, you know, like kids like spilling beer on your stuff and like requesting Freebird, and it's a whole different vibe, but that's what makes what I do so enjoyable. Is that it's never the same.
Well, you bring that up because, you know, we've had people on and some of them have recorded 3 records and all of their songs are amazing. And then we went to watch them live at one of the local live music places, and they weren't playing their song. And, you know, they came down after the set. I'm like, dude, like, why aren't you guys playing your songs? Cause like your songs are better than what you're playing, you know? And it always frustrated me as a fan of being able to sit with someone like you guys and talented and be like, I mean, Freebird's awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Freebird, right? I love Leonard Skinner.
I refuse to learn it.
Yeah, I love Leonard Skinner.
Oh, yeah.
They're awesome. But
Skinner's great.
But hey.
Skinner's great when Skinner plays it.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing.
Absolutely.
I think that, I think it's weird. Like, I mean, you know, I play a lot of cover gigs. Obviously, as a lot of musicians do to pay some bills. And you know, a lot of times when you're doing it, and I understand, they'll be like, you need to have covers ready, have these cover sets. And it's always interesting to me because I feel like somebody must have been really bad at playing their own original music to like jade so many of these venues to like force us to play covers. I was like, who hurt you? Because like, I promise you I'm good.
That's
like
right.
I promise you my songs are good. You know, I don't argue with them. I just say yes. And I have my covers. Even when I do covers, like I do covers of stuff I like. Yeah. Like I happen to be into a lot of popular rock music, but I'm playing stuff like Van Morrison, The Doors, Beatles, Donovan, Eagles songs that I like. Like, you know, stuff that I like, you know, like I'm not just selling out for the sake of selling out. And I pick stuff that works for my voice. To Love Somebody by the Bee Gees is one of my favorite songs. But I always think like, you know, who crossed these live music venues to not value original music? Because people like original music when it's good. They love it.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're going to say, who hurt you? Sorry, but I'm going to play my original song.
Yeah.
That's
Salty
our new t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny because, I mean, I'll even at those gigs where they tell me to play covers, I sneak some originals in there. And a lot of times people will be like, you know, I like the covers, but that original stuff.
It's better. Yeah.
Because they can also tell I feel it more.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I always encourage, what do I know? I don't know shit about this. I have no credibility in the space, but I just like, man, play your own songs. Cause then someone thinks, well, you're just a gig player, you're just whatever. They don't realize shit. No, I'm the real deal.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm the real deal.
Also playing your own songs means something. Like, you know, you're putting something unique into the world that wasn't there before. That's a powerful thing, I think. And that's one thing that keeps me going is like, regardless if it's, you know, 10 people that hear it or 10,000, like, you know, this was non-existent before. And then I put forth some effort and now it's there forever. Jimi Hendrix said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically like, the music's going to be here long after I am, you know, and that's a cool thought. I feel like.
It's just, you know, what I find, and it's not unique. I think people think, you know, we're entrepreneurs, business people, you know, before we got into this kind of stuff. And, you know, I kind of related to the musician struggle as an entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, you know, whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, serving, whatever, like, it's like, hey, I'm here, it's me. The awareness side of it and the distribution side is the only difference of why someone maybe makes it big or doesn't make it big, you know? And that was a very frustrating, I could relate to it. I guess that's why
it's a real struggle. I mean, you have to have the capital behind you and the distribution and you got to get lucky sometimes. Like I've seen countless amazing musicians just not get their due. I've seen countless mediocre musicians become really famous. I've seen countless awesome musicians get really famous, and I've seen countless mediocre ones not, you know? So it's like a lot of luck involved. But I mean, I've seen a lot of different statistics, like, you know, something about how Michael Jordan had the most shots attempted almost every year he played.
Yeah.
and I think also maybe some of the lowest field goal percentage on his team. You don't remember that?
No.
You remember the 6 rings, you know, the GOAT. You remember, you know, the impacts he had on the game. Like, that's the stuff you remember, you know? So, like, something I tell myself and urge everybody else, like, if you're making content that's good, you know, you're making songs that are good, you know, just keep shooting, because you never know when it's going to go in.
Yeah. And you keep doing that enough, that one shot, right, that you had the courage to take is the difference.
100%.
You know,
and it just takes one shot too.
Yeah, that's the difference. It's not that you miss or don't miss, but that one time you get, I think that's why it's key to do is, like, people, we had a guy in here, he had never played live, but he was a good musician. And when we listened to him, we're like, dude, you're not even playing live. Like, you need to get out there and play live.
Yeah.
And the point is, you know, you gotta keep that confidence. I think the hardest thing is the critics out in the world, as you know. Don't listen to the damn critics. You know, I mean, those people don't have the balls to get up there. They're not going to do it. They don't have half the talent you do it. And people, one guy gave me some advice when we started this, because we weren't into social media. I didn't give a shit either way. Like, whatever you do, don't listen to negative feedback. Don't look at it. Don't look at your comments.
I can curse, right?
So
opinions are like assholes.
Yeah.
Everyone's got one.
Everyone's got one. Some of them are bigger and stinkier, but yeah, everyone's
got one.
Everyone has one.
I can't talk about the state of it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
like, but like, no, truly, I mean, I'm very lucky it was funny when we did the Collective Soul show. Almost all of it was praise for our set. I happened to be on Facebook and I saw, like, without even me being tagged, I saw somebody took a video of us, said they didn't like us. And somebody else agreed in the comment section. And I kind of felt like I had made it for a second. I was like, yeah, I have some haters.
Yeah, you got to have haters.
Yeah, because I mean, that means if you don't have that, then that means what you're doing, first of all, isn't reaching enough people.
Yeah.
And also, like, you know, for something to be hated, it means it's really resonating on the other side.
Absolutely.
You know, I think I saw somebody say this, if people are indifferent about your music, that's when you're in the most trouble. You know, like, if you've got obviously you don't have a lot of haters, but, you know, if you've got a few, that means that there's way more that really love what you're doing.
Well, I'll take a couple million people, half of them hate me and half of them love me.
Yep.
And you'll still make a good living and have a good life.
100%.
You know, my dad used to tell me that it was funny. I never really understood it when I was younger, but he said, son, if you're not pissing someone off, you're not doing a good job. And it was, you know, he told me that when I was like 18 or 19 or something. Okay. But the older I get, he's right, because then you've kind of got that lukewarm,
I don't want to make anybody. For sure.
Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. Versus, I hate this freaking guy. And then this one goes, it actually draws attention to you sometimes. Totally. You're like, oh shit, I love this guy.
Totally.
This guy's
it was
awesome.
funny in that comment section. There's people defending me in there.
Yeah.
Like, no, I thought this was great. Whatever. And actually, one of the critiques was valid. It was when I always make sure to introduce my band, and that night I got nervous. I didn't introduce them. And somebody, for some reason, had an issue with that. I don't know why. It's a random thing for a fan to have an issue with. Okay. But I took it as good critique. I was like, you know, they're my band. They deserve it. You know, they're not going to ask for it.
Yeah.
But it was good because it showed, first of all, I can have that negative feedback, but also it was kind of valid, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a, you know, you're an active person, your mind's active. I'm like that too.
Yeah.
So I'll just spew out the craziest shit sometimes, or I'll forget and then I'll go back and go, I forgot to do that. It's just the way your mind works. Yep. It's not like, no, I'm not dissing my band. I don't think they're not worth anything.
I should have said that on the mic.
I just like, hey man, I was chasing butterflies, dude.
And most people don't want to even like have that. Like, most people just want to hate. Like, if I had said that, they wouldn't have responded. Like, you know, they just want to hate on something. No. You know, nobody wants to actually understand somebody online, it seems like.
I had one example that when we first started, we were telling the story about, I don't know, some guy having a podcast, and we were talking about, you know, why we did this. Like, what, and I was, you know, just talking to the guy, and I don't know it. I had some crazy flat bill hat, you know, and, but very similar, like a Facebook thing. And some guy goes, hey, this old fart's too old to be wearing like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And people started jumping in on him. Yeah. And then I was like, that's the best defense is let other people let someone else help you. 100%. Fight the battle and
you save face. You just,
it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. I wanted to find him and beat the shit
I almost
out
said
of him.
something because it's my first time. Yeah, it was similar. I almost said something on that post I saw. And instead, on the hate post. I just loved it.
Yeah.
Just like give it a heart.
Yeah. Yeah. One of our guys said, this asshole's shitting on this guy we just had on our show. And, you know, he had written a book, and the guy's like, oh, this is whatever the guy had written, this is bullshit or whatever it was. And our guy responded back and he said, hey, look, man, our brand's about honoring all kinds of people, musicians, entrepreneurs, or whatever. And by the way, you know, did you read the book? Which you knew the guy didn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, have a nice day, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, no comment, no return comment on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So you got to diffuse that stuff. But the good news is you guys don't have a lot of that. So Collective Soul, just curious, like how did you get that opportunity? Like, how did that come about? I'm just curious.
Well, first of all, I just want to shout out Will Turpin from Collective Soul, their bass player, one of the 3 original members still in the band. The other 2 are the brothers. So he's the non-family member that stuck around. It's a big deal, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's through a roundabout of mutuals, basically. Yeah. I was really close with a family who has been close to Ed, the lead singer. And Ed kind of heard me at a young age, took a chance on. I was in a band with my brother called the Corduroy Blue back in the day.
Oh, that's a great name.
And it's still out there everywhere and all that stuff. But yeah, Ed actually had us. We could stay at his house, and we recorded this single at his house, and amazing collection of guitars, all this stuff. Obviously, as you can imagine.
Absolutely.
And so we did that. And he enjoyed it. Then I put out. Then he told us that Will has a studio called Reel to Reel Studios, because I think Ed was having some renovations done to his house where he was recording. Anyways, we couldn't be in there anymore.
Right.
So he was like, Will, my bass player, has a studio in Jonesboro. And it's a legendary studio. It was in Stockbridge first. It was I
think I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's where Ed Roland created the demo for Shine.
Oh, okay. Is
in that studio. That's the version that's famous.
Right.
Was the one recorded there. I believe you guys, Collective Soul fans, can jump on me if I'm wrong.
Put your comments in the
in the comment section. But yeah, so anyways, now it's in Jonesboro, and we recorded a few singles out there, and kind of just like, you know, we were just paying clients, totally just like recording in there, and Ed personally called me after we did one of the singles and said, man, this one's really good, you know, we'll keep tabs. And so he does this event at Eddie's Attic, or he used to. It was like a Ed Roland and Friends Christmas thing. And 2 years in a row we did it. The first year was kind of just like me and my brother doing it. Second year, it was just me, I believe. And second year, Ed got sick. So he did it 2 nights. Yeah. The second night, Ed Roland and Friends was without Ed Roland. Oh, so it was just friends. And we were like kind of figuring out, scrambling, like, how are we going to put this together? Yeah. And it's just in my nature to kind of like step up. And so, you know, I have always loved this Collective Soul song called Run.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end, I was just like, guys, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go up there. And I think one of the guys from the Zach Brown band came and kind of salvaged the like celebrity, you know, needed somebody kind of famous to be there. But after that, I was like, all right, I'm going to play Run. And everybody slowly but surely come up. And it turned into a really cool night. And Ed kind of thanks me for doing that. He heard about it. And then went back to Reel, where Will Turpin's studio was, and did the Corduroy Blue album that I was talking about. Our producer, Christopher Allen Yates, did most of the project, and up to that point had done everything for us, production-wise. But Will decided he wanted to take a little bit more interest in what we were doing for the first, you know, truly like, you know, we were always in his studio, we were friendly, but this is the first time he was like, I've seen you guys around, I want to know what's going on. I want to be a part of it. So he picked 4 songs from the record. Chris had the other 8 or 9 or whatever it was. And Will Turpin and I really got to know each other, got to produce together. And that album came out. Then my brother became an actor. He kind of wanted to go a different path. And so that band broke up kind of shortly after that record came out. And I was just really lost, you know, like that band. My brother and I have been in bands since I was 16 years old. And now I think I was 23. You know, it's a long time to be doing something with somebody. That was where I put all my effort, time, energy, and now it's just kind of gone. You know, him and I are closer than ever, by the way. But we needed to separate, I think, creatively to be closer as brothers, I think. But, you know, when he left the band, I was kind of like, you know, I didn't want to do the Corduroy Blue anymore and very lost. And we played one of our last shows as the Corduroy Blue. I met a guy named Caleb Heupel. He was in a band. we were playing with, and he just texted me out of the blue. He's like, "Hey, nice to meet you at the show. Would love to produce you. I just started producing. If you ever want to do whatever." And I was in a very kind of sad place at that time. The band and I had disbanded. I had just broken up with my ex-girlfriend. I think I was looking at moving out, and so a lot of change. And so Caleb and I, we recorded my first solo record called Square One. It's on Spotify. We recorded that in his mom's basement.
Oh, wow.
Went from like big Collective Soul studio to mom's basement. And it's just this awesome collection of acoustic songs. And, went from that then to a studio in Athens called Tweed Recording. My second album, Power Pop World Domination, we recorded that there. And then Will and Brian Collins, who is now a part of Will's studio, they heard the new record, the second one, Power Pop World Domination. And Brian from Reel to Reel called me and said, "Hey, we want you to come back. After your time off from the Corduroy Blue, we want you back here." So for them to value me enough to call me and say, "I don't know what you're doing, but stop it.
Yeah. Come
Come be with us again." Will totally has taken me under his wing this time. We've become like best friends. He texted me the other day. He was like, "Am I more of an uncle or a big brother to you?" I was like, "I think a little bit of both." But truly it's been that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
He's come in and we have made, this album's called Rock and Roll Hit Parade. It comes out September 4th. Will and I and Brian have slaved away at this, Caleb as well. And we've kind of created this like four-headed monster, super efficient, some of the best music I've ever made. And it's all come out of that studio. So long story long, Will has been really boots on the ground with us making this record.
That's awesome.
And then they needed some supporter, they needed some support. And he was like, "We're definitely going to get you guys on this show." And him and I have talked about what that looks like for us too next year, getting to do maybe a full run with them. Because Will plays bass on 3 songs or 2 songs on the album.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So it's been a match made in heaven, has been a huge boost for me. Has, given me some amazing opportunities. I'm sure it'll give me more. And we plan to make more music with them. So,
Well, obviously you're talented, so that's great. And it's funny how that works out. Like, you've been coming in somewhere, for years or whatever. And like, there's that Atticus kid.
Guy, yeah.
Atticus kid. Hey buddy, how's it going? And then, that's amazing. So, hey, tune in, everybody. Listen to whoever's in your studio and what they're up to, because
100%.
may catch them earlier,
Yep.
So, well, that's an awesome story. So, what do you like? What are your real like aspirations, just for people all over the world to hear you?
As many fans as possible would be nice, right? But truly, I'll do it regardless. That's how I feel. Like, if I have to do it the grassroots independent way, claw my way to some sort of whatever, so be it. If I end up dropping it and then people find my music 20 years later and I become some sort of cult figure, that happens all the time. That's awesome. If I'm meant to get a big contract and tour the world, if I'm meant to, whatever it is, I'm down for it. I just know that I'm always going to be making songs because I feel like I was born to do it.
Absolutely.
I've got almost 1,100 songs I've written.
I was going to say, I saw somewhere like you had over 1,000 songs.
I've written, it's probably 1,150 or something like that right now.
That's insane.
I keep a record, and that's just the ones that have fully fleshed out lyrics and melody. Like, there's another 500 where I started and stopped and wrote some lyrics and stopped, or, instrumental. I'm just a songwriter at heart. And so if I was born to do it, that's what I'm going to do. I think you spoke to some of my passion earlier. Like, I think that that's contagious to some degree. And I think that people who have passion should pursue it, because I think it inspires people. And I think that that's a net positive for the world, to inspire people, I would say. Just whoever is along for the ride, come along. And, if it's not your thing, keep moving. But, I'm going to keep trucking away regardless. So
I think it's just a matter of ears on it, I
agree.
I really
I think it's good stuff.
Yeah.
My catalog's good.
It really is. I'm always amazed, like, to you and I were talking about, because I'm an ADD guy big time.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed, like, 1,100 songs, like how you could remember that. I could write a song and probably sing it 1,000 times, and I'd forget my own lyrics.
Well, I do forget my lyrics. My girlfriend actually thinks it's crazy too. She was like, I don't know how you can remember that. it's a gift because I can't remember the lyrics. I have to have those, and I have to read them a lot, and I have to be in the studio. The music, I've not of the 1,100 songs in there, the 450 that are actually really good. I remember the chords to every one of them.
Yeah,
like it's just something in me clicks, and it's here. Yeah, and I mean that's probably if on my dying day, that's probably the last thing to go. Yeah. Besides the Beatles lyrics.
Yeah. No. Well, I was saying that I didn't even know how to articulate it after you were done playing the last song. I didn't even know how to articulate it, but I could feel like I'm like, dude, you were like one with the guitar. Oh, yeah. Well, like it was, I don't even know how to articulate it, but it was something that stood out to me. Yeah. So kudos, brother. That's
Thank you,
awesome.
man. Yeah. That song is Wives' Tale. That was like the first song we wrote for the record. And I purposely didn't put it on the album before this because I felt like it was that song takes up a lot of space. It's a big song. It feels like an important song. So we literally made this album kind of with that song in mind. We're like, we want to give this song a platform.
Yeah.
And so that song, has been playing all across the UK right now. And, it's got a really good fan base here. Been playing on the radio here, and that song seems to be resonant. That one and Love Bombs both seem to be resonating.
I love Bomb. That's catchy, man. I like that. I like the UK, London. I mean, I could see you like blowing up there really quick, like for whatever reason. But I just feel like
that's where the music I love comes from. Yeah. I think I think it would play well. Yeah. Yeah. I actually, when I used to sing, I've cut it out a little bit. It's still there if you listen, but when I used to, like my early recordings, I was in my first band. It was called Aquashade. I was 15 years old. And we had a whole EP. And if you listen, I sound British when I'm singing. Like I was so inspired by them, I couldn't cut that accent out. Yeah. Or like if I'm ever doing home demos to this day, I'll send it to my band and I'll start it, be like, all right, this one's cold. I'll do that. It's like this weird like comfort I think I have because that's where my favorite music comes from. I don't know, but yeah, that's for some reason I love British music, British culture. I've been to the UK. I loved it.
Well, next time I see you live, I'm going to sing play the Queen song. Yeah, right? God bless the Queen. Play the Queen song.
Yeah. So we're going to be a big show at Vinyl Center Stage September 5th. Yeah. That's going to be our album release show. Got a guy who's playing sitar with us.
What is that?
It's like that Indian instrument you ever heard, like what they do on Norwegian wood.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I got that. Like got Brian Collins, who's been a legend here, playing some harmonica. Got some other really cool bands, and just try and cultivate. All I try and do is cultivate good live experiences.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good news is, and I was telling Atticus, is like I feel like I don't even want to go to concerts anymore because we get to sit down here and just
I wouldn't enjoy if I had this
100%. I mean,
just sit here and enjoy it.
Yeah. It's a real treat for us, real treat.
The Southern Georgia,
the old man.
Yeah,
saying,
real treat for
that's an old man saying. It's a real treat. But it's just so it's so intimate and just so awesome, and you have no distractions. So I mean, I was grateful for you to come in, and I'm grateful that. I mean, you're a talent, and we're behind you, dude. Whatever we can do. I mean, obviously, this, you've had some substance to what you've been doing, and we've had people in that, we had 311 at one point. They weren't singing, but they were on, and we've had some other pretty like known bands, but everyone, their stories are pretty similar. Yeah, it's and that I think is it's pretty cool. Yeah. So. Like, what would you tell? I always say this because there's artists out there that are really good and, really want to make it and really, what kind of advice would you give to maybe the kids 15, 16, 17, whatever it may be, like the stick to it. Because you've got to have gumption and willing to do it. And I think some people think they're just, I'm going to be famous. And,
that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem is, I think there's two sides of this. If it was a 15-year-old kid, I'd ask him to play for me. Yeah. And if he doesn't have it, I'd be like, look, I think you should, I would say this in the nicest way possible. Because it's a hard thing to do. Yeah. I think you should just save yourself some time, money, energy. Do it if you love it, whatever. Right. But if you're going to pursue it, I would maybe look somewhere else because it is so hard. You have to love it, and you have to be really good at it. And even then, you don't always make it. Yeah. If the kid's really good, I would say pursue it. But and have the dreams, the dreams of fame, have the Grammy dream. Yeah. Have the recording studio dream, have the #1 selling album, Billboard Hot 100 dream. Have all those dreams. Have the Jimmy Fallon dream. Right. Have all of that. That's all good to have. It's good to daydream. It's good to imagine it. But first of all, don't expect it anytime soon. And, have the dream, but don't get down if that stuff doesn't seem attainable. Yeah. Because you can have the dream and then you get really excited and you work really hard for a week and a half. And then why am I not on Fallon a week and a half in to making music? Well, that's not how that works. Yeah. And most of the people that get any of that stuff I mentioned have major label deals, millions of dollars pumped into them, major publishing deals. If you're independent, that's not happening. Yeah. So just be content with what you're doing, work really hard, enjoy what you're doing, I enjoy this part. Because one day, I believe I'm going to have some sort of success in this business. I don't know if that's going to be major label or that's going to be indie label or no label, but I know I'm going to have some success because I think I love it enough and I'm good enough. But even then, I will look back at this part, the process, the grind, the sludge part, and I'll miss it because I work at a bar for my day job called Me Hands, and we have one of our regulars came in. He's a very successful lawyer, millionaire. And, he was saying how he's depressed and this and this and this. And he said, I envy you. And I was like, why? He was like, because you wake up every day with the hope that something big could happen for you. It's like you wake up with your big break could be today. He was like, even if it's not going to be today, he was like, that hope and that ambition and that unknowing of if something major could happen for you, he was like, that's addicting. He was like, that feeling is I envy that feeling. And ever since he said that, it's really stuck with me of this part of the grind of sure, it can feel down if you're not getting enough likes or views or streams or whatever, but that not knowing if something's going to hit or not, every day is a gift for that. Yeah. And so I would say just chase it. Chase it. Don't care about what your friends think. Don't care about what your enemies think. Don't care about any of that. Just do you and work on your craft and find your voice, find your visual voice, find your, I say visual voice because, we live in a really content-driven world and you've got to have a brand, whatever it is. I always say there's so many artists that I think that suffer from not having the right brand, whether that's the photos aren't right or the video's not right, but that stuff has to be in order. Absolutely. You got to have that in order. It shouldn't be more important than the music, but maybe just as or a little under. But all of this stuff is stuff that I would say, but the biggest thing is to just keep pushing and don't let those dreams that you're having and the lack of success you might be experiencing weigh on you. Rather just kind of, just every day you're pushing for it, you're getting closer. So.
I think it's great advice. And I always ask that because it's better coming from a musician than someone,
than a salty MF.
Yeah, or some old guy giving hope. But I will say you're always one opportunity, one connection, or one break from changing your life forever. Yep. And that is true. And I can tell you that from the entrepreneurial business side of it. You're one break away, one connection away.
One shot.
Yep.
One shot.
You're one shot. That 2-second drill, shoot it. But we gotta call your girlfriend out. We gotta tell her. We gotta say hello to her because
I know you said to say hi to her. I said I had to say bye to her to be here. Hi, baby. I love you. Actually, I can plug this really quick.
I had to do
it. Is this song that I'm about? I don't know when this will come out, but
next week.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that pairs right with this.
Next Thursday.
Yep, that's perfect. The song "Satisfied." I'm trying to think. Yep, it'll be out that day.
Yeah.
Okay, so the song, this third single, "Satisfied," is about her and about we were talking in the talking phase before anything had really been official. I'd been a rambling man. I've been out whatever, not really valuing I wasn't looking to settle down into anything in particular. Just going out, being a musician, and I met this girl. And that all went out the window. Yeah. And
it happens.
Yeah. And I met her and went out the window and she wanted to be my friend at first. And I was like, we're just friends for a while. And then we had started talking more again, probably 6 months later. And I wrote this song, Satisfied. Her and I were not dating, we're not together. And she had just inspired me to kind of want more out of love, want that like long-standing from youth to old age relationship that was never even on my radar at all. I was just like, I want to go to the bars, play music, hang out and whatever. Like that was not me. And she kind of turned me into that. And that was before we started dating. And the first time I'd ever played the song, I almost played it here today, but I wanted to mix it up a little bit. But the first time I ever played it live was at a party she was at. Some of my friends were like, "Oh, play some songs," and by the time I got to that song, she was the only person in the room, and she didn't know it was about her, and we weren't dating at that time. And I just remember thinking, this is so crazy that this girl is right here. The song, I wrote it for her. She doesn't know it's about her. We're not dating. And she, came up and said it was really good. And then, now we've been dating for almost a year and a half, almost.
That's awesome.
And so,
divine
cool story,
intervention.
100%. So shout out to you, Clara.
Yeah. Well, hey, give me some credit for
bringing it up.
Yeah. Give the old salty guy a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
He was talking very highly of you before, so that's why I said you got to call her out.
Shout her out.
Well, Atticus, you've been amazing, dude. We're with you now. You're welcome to the McBastard family, and that's we have a heart to shine lights on people, and that's what we want to do. And not just musicians, but we kind of love music, so it seemed like a good idea at the time, and we're going to continue.
Still is, I think.
Going to continue to pursue.
I feel the shining light.
Do you feel it? You feel that light on you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's my makeup guy? Where's my makeup guy?
I don't know.
Well, man, you've been awesome. You want to tell your fans anything in closing, or?
Hope you guys enjoy the interview. I mean, I've had a great time. Enjoy the live session. Rock and Roll Hit Parade out September 4th. It's my best record yet. Stay tuned for the tour dates. They should be on my socials, but we'll keep plugging those. So.
Absolutely. And if you're tired of all the algorithms, I will do a shameless plug on Band Groupie since we created it. You can find Atticus there. You can find thousands of artists. Go support a local independent artist. You can find them anywhere. Find a cool live music venue. But that's it for the show today. Let's go.